Okay, so what's going on over here?
Well, Chris here doesn't seem to think that the Megalodon is still alive.
Come on, bro, there'd be a lot to consider. Okay, I'm listening. Continue.
What are you talking about, bro? We know less about the ocean than outer space, and 75% of the Earth is covered in water, so there's still a lot to explore.
You do realize we're talking about a giant animal, bro. The Megalodon is a gigantic shark that got up to 60 feet in length. Whether they were hunting at night or during the day, somebody would have bound to see them by now. Well, seems you bros have a Megalodon-sized debate, so I'll be the moderator. Feel free to use the screens behind you during your presentations. Martin, you go first.
Hey! Thanks, Jay-Z. So, the reason I think the Megalodon is still out there is because there are tons of large animals that we already have a difficult time finding, like the blue whale, the whale shark, and the great white shark. These large animals travel long distances and are very rare and hard for a lot of scientists to find. Remember when we rode on the underbelly of our great white shark pal Razormouth? She took us from the western coast of Australia to South African shallow waters to have her shark pups. Plus, most of the 400 species of sharks have what is called counter-shading camouflage, meaning that they camouflage to blend into the ocean. The top of the great white shark is dark, so animals and people above it can't see the shark below them because it looks like the ocean floor. And the belly of the shark is white, so it looks like the bright sunny surface to fish, other prey, and predators below. So, we can assume that the Megalodon is using the same counter-shading camouflage that other sharks have. And since no human spotted us on our expedition, maybe it's possible that the Megalodon hasn't even been spotted by people yet.
Chris, I'll give you a chance to respond to that. Thanks, Jimmy. One thing, bro, we were spotted by a human. Gourmand, remember? He tried to cook Razormouth's fins?
Yeah, but that's Gourmand. The guy literally is a dog with a superhuman nose.
My point is that the counter-shading camouflage isn't perfect. People have been able to spot smaller sharks and even great white sharks just by looking from drones above. Plus, sharks, like other cartilaginous fish, lack one thing that could be helpful in this predicament: a swim bladder. Almost all fish, except the cartilaginous or chondrichthyes fish, have a swim bladder. This is a gas-filled organ that allows the fish to float without using any energy. And sharks don't have that. And even though some are ambush predators, and some camouflage at the bottom of the ocean, most sharks in general, and including the Megalodon, aren't exactly the best hiders. And as I said before, the Megalodon can get up to 50 to 60 feet in length, with the longest ever recorded being 67 feet. Not to mention jaws big enough to swallow a few humans whole. And scientists estimated the weight of this shark to be over 143,000 pounds. The great white shark needs to eat around 3% of its body weight every few weeks to survive, and if we do the math, that means the Megalodon needs to eat 4,300 pounds of meat every few weeks to stay alive, and there's just not a lot of that to go around nowadays.
But bro, there could be very few Megalodons left, like in the double-digit numbers. Plus, there are more places for them to hide than at the surface of the ocean. There's also the deep ocean. With the average depth being around 12,000 feet and the deepest part of the ocean being around 36,000 feet, there's a lot of space for Megalodon to hang out. You know who else is down there and is around the Megalodon's size? The legendary sperm whale. And they get plenty of food down in the deep ocean, like the 50-foot giant squid or the 40-foot colossal squid. So there's really a lot of food to go around.
Yes, Martin, you're right. Those animals are around the size that Megalodon would have been, but the fossil records show that the teeth of the Megalodon was more designed for grabbing prey and crushing bones, and squids don't have bones. And the record shows that the Megalodon likely lived in warmer waters and couldn't have survived in colder waters, and even if they could, they'd have to eat a lot of fatty foods, not just whales, but probably seals too.
Well, the ocean has been changing for millions of years, Chris. Maybe the Meg can't survive the Arctic or Antarctic, but scientists have discovered Megalodon fossils all over the world, including places that during Megalodon's time were pretty cold. And including the sperm whale, there's also the elephant seal, a large 88,000-pound seal that can dive up to 2,000 feet under the sea. Along with being a hunter of seals, dolphins, and other fish, the great white shark can also be a scavenger. In fact, scientists are discovering that whale blubber from whale carcasses makes up a huge part of a great white shark's diet. The Megalodon could have adapted to eat dead animals, especially dead whales, just like the great white shark does. Plus, great white sharks prefer to hunt in cold water as opposed to warm water, and the Megalodon teeth found in warmer waters are often juveniles. In the Gatun Formation in Panama, scientists found a concentration of juvenile Megalodon teeth. Maybe they have their pups in the warmer waters, then go to colder waters to hunt. I mean, they gotta get the whales somehow, and usually whales are found in colder waters. Really, we may never know if they preferred warm or cold water though. I mean, I know you hate cold water, Chris.
Real funny, Martin. And sure, there's a lot of things about the Megalodon that we may never really know, but there's one thing that you're forgetting.
Oh, really? What's that?
The Megalodon would have been a top predator that not only makes its effect on the ecosystem blatantly recognizable, but also puts it in competition with some of the ocean's most dangerous and effective predators, past and present. One of these was a giant sperm whale named Leviathan, who ate other whales. Supposedly, the only reason that whales get as big as they do now is because Megalodons and Leviathans went extinct.
Yeah, how big those whales are now, they would definitely feed a Megalodon. They'd outcompete all those other predators to catch a whale.
Unfortunately, bro, size didn't help the Megalodon survive. In the fossil record, we find that diatoms, which is the krill's main food, started becoming less and less abundant. Less diatoms meant less krill meant less whales, and less whales meant less Megalodons. Megalodon was outcompeted by the smaller and more nimbler predators like orcas and sharks, who could not only catch up with their food, but ambush their food too. Megalodon would likely have been spotted and avoided by many of today's modern large whales. And unfortunately, there are people like Gourmand who are much better and more skilled at tracking and catching sharks than we are. People kill about 100 million sharks a year for shark fin soup or hunting for sport. And with no carcasses found, it's very unlikely that Megalodon is still alive today.
You know, bro, from everything that was said today, that's entirely possible. Maybe Megalodon isn't swimming in Earth's oceans anymore. But maybe it is, just to say I told you so later on. But whether it's still alive or not, we still got to express our love and appreciation for sharks all over the world.
And we learned some cool things about sharks and other sea animals along the way. I certainly did.
Hey, do you want to go scuba diving in the North Atlantic to see if we can find any great white sharks?
I'll get the snacks. Wow, this went so much better than the presidential debate this year.
Uh-oh.
Come on, guys, stop! What would David Muir say?
I would say this debate's gone out of hand, Jimmy Z.
What the heck?